Every living being's primary goal is to survive. It's even more significant than reproduction. While not reproducing, children and grandparents are still alive. Still, one may become optimistic without passing on genes. Psychologists have been researching for decades how lifelong, significant goals evolve. Launching a business, investigating an illness, or teaching children are examples of objectives that have the potential to improve the lives of others. A feeling of purpose seems to have developed in humans such that they might do great things together, which may explain why it is linked to improved mental and physical well-being. As it relates to evolution, the purpose is adaptive. It promotes the survival of both humans and the species. Many people believe that their unique talents and ability to stand out from the crowd give them a sense of purpose. The key to leading a successful life is to recognize, accept, honor, and attain predefined intents. The purpose of your life and how to uncover it. Living is what life is all about. One can become so engrossed in what one refers to as experience that one can determine what it is that one genuinely desires. When people stretch out excitedly and fearlessly for that more fresh, deeper experience, they bring Source with them because they are the most distant vibration of the thing they refer to as Source or God. Thus, the creation of everything is a logical outcome of life in the physical world. There might be an end to the response, but just as with all substances that become real understanding, one must submit to one's unique life purpose to reach this greater, more liberated, and unifying reason. One needs to open the door to the part of him that has initially decided to enter this world, his everlasting, fundamental, non-physical self, to find significant purpose in every element of his life. It may seem like a difficult task to plenty of people who unintentionally cut themselves off from their knowledge of this aspect of themselves. But it truly is simple to learn. Individuals need to be courageous enough to accept and acknowledge the things they virtually feel passionate about, which bring them joy. Human emotions are created to help them determine whether or not they are in alignment with their non-physical self. The fulfillment of everyone's wish vibrates dynamically at the same level as his soul. It vibrates to the extent of one's happiness. Therefore, when people experience happiness, it is because they have connected with that dimension of themselves. It's significant since when persons are in resonance with their higher self, and consequently their pleasure, they are an energy match to every circumstance that calls for their happiness to materialize in front of them. When people have the confidence to use their feelings as their only guide in life, every chance, relationship, event, situation, and object that contributes to human pleasure will present itself to all. When people decide to live life at the whim of their delight, the mission in terms of what they are intended to be performing in this life will virtually fall into their lap. Until they find themselves pursuing something so fundamental to who they are that they can declare they will follow the sensations of passion and excitement, doing nothing more than adopting the next logical step. Individuals will experience a sense of destiny when they engage in this exercise, because it will come naturally to them, while they are allowing all of them who are to exist in this life. People have been educated to be aware of the fact that attempting something productive is a noble thought. However, that is not the situation. The struggle is how vibrations define effort. This feeling of struggle is the clue that persons are now traveling against the flow of where their souls are trying to guide them. Even while it might need some effort and dedication, if one is fulfilling one's purpose, he will find satisfaction in that dedication and effort, removing the activity from the category of a struggle. Rather, the time people devote to doing the task will seem like only a few minutes. They won't want to be anywhere else except where they are right now. It is reasonable if several individuals have arrived at a position where they are not currently leading a life that gives them a profound sense of purpose. It's because adopting external ideas, opinions, and guidance from those around is so prevalent in contemporary culture that it is often difficult for all to retain the orientation while they are young. People do this for one main reason. They believe that other persons can bring pleasure, dignity, stability, respect, care, and purpose. However, when in reality, these things can only come from within. By the time individuals reach adulthood, the majority of them have grown used to the effort it necessitates to live by someone else's principles and directives that it feels natural. In other words, even though losing touch with people's true selves does not feel nice, it feels natural. The purpose is lost when one has lost the identity of who he is. So, people must be prepared to assume risks. They should be prepared to accept the hazards of change and the cost of valuing their happiness. By taking this chance, one agrees to be open to having his entire life and course of action shift from one position to another. One may agree that the direction may change multiple times throughout one's life. Only by making this commitment can all live out their purpose and experience true happiness. One can observe that when people look for their life's meaning, they make an error in judgment. When human purpose manifests as what they are intended to contribute to this world, they search for what they are expected to accomplish or participate in. They can only ever receive through the parting of this gift. By providing this valuable gift, they can only enable their genuine selves to come through and express themselves in this world. This statement includes life's original meaning. To forbid it is to endure suffering, feel depressed, and fall short of natural talent. It shouldn't feel like people are losing anything by offering this gift. Rather, they should feel as though they are getting more out of life than ever. Therefore, one should be asking oneself, what am I destined to contribute in this life? And what is attempting to emerge and express itself today? Find the purpose of life and avoid mediocrity. Mediocrity is striving for greatness while ignoring it. Several millionaires, including some celebrities, have terrible or challenging backstories. Sad stories with happy or tragic endings tend to sell better than those with no pleasure and pain at all. However, one need not believe it provides the solution to the pertinent query. Everyone must pay the price to obtain the things he wants, according to some scholars and researchers whose works are prominent. If individuals have a tragic life narrative, they have already paid the price. Have all achieved their goals? That's not exactly the case, or at least it doesn't mean that paying the price entails going through unpleasant experiences. Paying the price implies taking the necessary action. One should take the appropriate steps and never give up. Yes, people might stumble before they succeed, but that doesn't mean there has to be pain or suffering. Humans now have more experience in enduring hardships. People shouldn't pass judgment on anyone, and should have a great deal of respect for those who have overcome great odds to succeed. No matter what, they have succeeded. One may just wonder why nearly no one who has enough means continues to achieve great success and celebrity status. According to the media, the middle class is fading globally. Only a few people are millionaires, and the majority belong to the low or very dismal class. The bulk of those who were once considered middle class are now or soon will be in the impoverished class. Why don't they have millions of dollars? Is moving down a class easier than moving up? If people fall into the very low category and imagine themselves living on the streets, perhaps the desire to become super rich grows stronger. Do all have to sink to the bottom before they can surface? Another idea that people may support is this one theory. Why must individuals harm themselves before they understand they are capable of achieving their goals? One must read a decent self-improvement book if one needs some motivation. Or individuals may envision themselves living on the streets with meager resources and aspirations and thinking about how to achieve the defined objectives. What do they have to lose? These are amazing aspects to begin to deliberate. One of the worst human vices is mediocrity. Some claim that ignorance, a lack of information, and stupidity are the root causes of mediocrity. They might be correct, but from a normal perspective, mediocrity results from a lack of drive and zeal to succeed. One may be aware that, for the most part, human beliefs are the product of what parents, guardians, teachers, community, and others have instilled in individuals when they grow up. It is also assumed that they all have a voice inside, telling them to make the most of the resources they have, but they are too sluggish to listen to practical elements. If people just wait and listen, they might discover that there is a method to improve the situation, which could motivate them to achieve their missions. Every action begins with a sincere desire. A burning craving can make a dream come true through deliberate activities. Finding human life's purpose, actually identifying it, and being aware of it, are further things one can do to prevent mediocrity. Individual path to achieving the goals becomes easier the more specific the milestones are. Lack of motivation and ambition are other traits shared by those who are ordinary or below average. They are afraid of living better lives. They believe they have a single, predetermined life and that there is nothing they can do to change it. They feel good because they almost have enough. If someone goes through alternatives to the word mediocre, the terms average and negative emerge in the dictionary as suitable synonyms. The word average catches one off guard. Does this imply that the general population is unimpressive? Perhaps not, but the majority of people on the planet are homeless or live in abject poverty. There are several excuses in this regard. The government and the economy are to blame. These and anything else people can point the finger at won't make a difference. They must be willing to change radically and take ownership of their lives and circumstances. One should always keep in mind that nothing will enter one's life until he first welcomes it with his ideas and mental state. People need to make the life they deserve with a reality check. It's time to make a change if people are stuck in a life they don't like. The ideal life individual desires can be made possible. To be joyful is to live without stress. One shouldn't wait until one has reached rock bottom to make changes. Anyone may do so right now. People should try their hardest in everything, both small and large, and enjoy themselves while doing the same. They must get prepared to advance and become wealthy millionaires. The bottom lines are already too packed for them. There is no space for every other person. Find the purpose of life with planning and setting targets. Do people try to understand the reason for their daily desire to step out of bed and face the day? Do they have a strong intent to accomplish something that drives them to persevere despite all obstacles coming their way? If either of these questions has provoked a negative response from individuals, they must identify their prime, definite purpose. The most essential thing people are working on right now in their life is their primary, precise purpose. Although it may be common, it isn't always similar to the general human life objectives. Human beings' next important segment on the path to their life purpose could be their significant, specific purpose. The short and medium-term objectives are connected to the main, clear mission about one's success or downfall. They should all be pointing all humans in the direction of their main specific aim, and it should be the apex of all their miscellaneous objectives. People's primary clear purpose can be in any region of success. It is frequently connected to their jobs, such as launching a new business, but it can also be connected to their families, including raising their children to be successful adults, health concerns, such as losing weight, or the community service, among other things. What matters is that people should be capable of recognizing developments when their main objectives are going to be fulfilled, and it should be so vital to individuals that they will stick to it no matter what. Most people examine their skills and potential, what's essential to them, and what they enjoy doing the most when determining their major clear purpose. They will be genuinely driven to pursue something like that when they find it fits all these parameters appropriately. What one should prioritize in one's life is a relevant question to ask. At this stage, individuals must be absolutely honest. Giving the socially acceptable responses, like saying family comes first, may be tempting, But if it's not true for someone, that answer isn't the right one and may be construed as fake. When do people feel the most ecstatic? What are the activities they truly enjoy? What time of day do they feel most inspired? There is an emotional element behind these behaviors, and that feeling nearly always has something to do with a topic that is significant to all. What skills does one have? This one is the most challenging for someone to respond to. Here, all must be fully honest with themselves. When people are not good at anything, it is useless to believe they are superiors. Everyone has a certain combination of skills and capabilities in which they can excel. Individuals should take some time to review the answers after they've written them down for each question. One should write down 3 responses that one believes could be the core, clear responses. Also, one needs to look at these 3 answers and pick the one that resonates with his thought process. The most significant endeavor people are now engaged in is working toward their big, clear target. It will be something that they can easily define and comprehend. Besides, it could take them several years to obtain, and it will also inspire them to pursue their dreams with consistency. Every human being ultimately reaches the moment in life when he starts to wonder, what is the point of life? One looks for the purpose and meaning of life. It is a self-exploration of query because one is looking for the significance in one's life. According to general observations, there are many potential reasons for human existence. First of all, the enjoyment of life itself may be the main purpose of existence. Perhaps the only purpose of human existence is for awareness to experience life in a human body and soul and all of its emotions. Helping others enjoy and learn from their lives may be another reason that humans exist. One arrives at the third potential explanation for human existence through growing and learning from experience. Apparently, it's so that human souls, which serve as the archives of all their experiences, can represent as the locations where their consciousness can develop and absorb the lessons. All of the above constitute the true meaning and purpose of life, according to numerous research works on consciousness. The development of each component, which includes the conscious mind, subconscious mind, and the higher self that scholars refer to as the loved ones, is the ultimate intent of existence. The terms such as loved ones, self-appraisal, and identifying and nurturing the family within signifies that each component is at a distinct stage of maturity. Why is the group of elements called a family? They mirror a human family in several respects, even though each feature is simply a small part of a larger realm of living beings. Everyone aspires to live a life filled with meaning and contentment. Sometimes people's expectations for their lives virtually don't come true. Circumstances don't go in the direction one wants them to be, for a reason, and that reason is one has not yet found the purpose of life. To live a fulfilling life replete with prosperity and happiness, one must first define one's goals in life. People must be able to envision their life's achievements to live them purposefully. They must consider many ideas, such as not limiting themselves to just 1 or 2. It will enable them to develop an idea of life targets to meet one after another. People may identify the person in their life whom they most admire. They most likely perceive this individual as someone passionate about life and motivated by aspirations. Most likely, this individual is content with who the others are and have almost everything they could ever desire or need. People should spend more time with this type of individual and share their interests, objectives, etc. Individuals will be more successful if they surround themselves with more like-minded people who share their values and beliefs. Living in the present is a need for determining one's mission. People must consider what they may be doing at any given moment to make them happy. If the circumstances are favorable, they may proceed. They don't intend to look back and see that all they did was fantasize about having a meaningful life. All want to reflect on their lives and know they have attained all of their goals, be it large or small.